10 years, 64 videos, and a ton of views to go with it. I don't know if they were deserving or not, but just looking back on all the videos I've done for my channel over the years, the YouTube poops have become the most consistent, and I feel like partly for that is for the people who watched it, coming in, enjoying it, giving me criticism or whatever, but either way, just that attention is warranted. So thank you guys for all that you've done for these particular videos this past decade. It's been real fun to do. It's been a bit of a trip to say the least, but I'm definitely commemorating the 10th anniversary in style. Like, I've released a couple of big YouTube poops over the past couple of months. Looking back on them, I gotta say I'm proud of them, just the way that they turned out. Just hopefully they'll continue to have people enjoy them the way that the previous ones have done. And one of the other things that I've done to commemorate the 10th anniversary is do a little tournament for all 64 videos. Yeah, that's a pretty high number if I don't say so myself, and it just seems like the perfect number for how you do tournament brackets and such. So that's what I've been doing. That's been my little side project for the last month or two, putting all those videos into brackets, into tournaments, and letting you guys decide which ones of your favorites are. Emphasis on your favorites. I can't vote because it's my channel. I can't vote on any of them. So anything that's happened with that project over the past month or two, that's been down to you guys and your votes and how it's all turned out, and we'll see who all your favorites are. So it's been very interesting to rack them all up in the particular tournament ways and just see, for all the people that voted, which ones are their favorites. And I have been keeping track on the voting, so I know who won and who didn't make it through, and I've been noting on other particular things throughout the whole thing that I feel like should be noted. Based on the eliminations of the first rounds, like more or less the majority of the videos that didn't make it, they were ones that I knew that people wouldn't particularly care for, if that makes sense. Certainly ones that I, for the most part, don't look fondly back on. And it's interesting to note too that a few personal favorites of mine, I'm a little sad that didn't make it. I guess they didn't affect like my audience like the way that I thought they would, which is, like I said, a little sad. Like, I'm glad people were voting for the superior version for Bodom, for example, but it just feels like the original could have gotten a little more love too. But I guess just the way it was bracketed in its particular group, and maybe people thought that the updated version was superior. The Cookies April Fool's video, and certainly the 5th act of the Tragedy of Neocortex, those are ones I certainly look back on, whether they be like way back or just recently. I still feel like they work for sure. And I get that people wouldn't be accustomed to like the newer videos I posted a few months ago, that be Tiddlywinks, Go and Wacky Landing, even the newest version of It's Been a Harrowing Day. Maybe in a couple of months' time from this video's posting, that might be different. It's just a shame given the content that was put in. I know people will look fondly back on. I certainly put a lot of effort into it, and I certainly enjoyed making them. Just months later, well, if I get the chance to watch those videos just out of the blue, there are stuff I still laugh at, and I feel like that's a good thing for building. Being an editor, I've known done better, and if people get a kick out of it too, that's even better, right? Now, when it got to the second round of this tournament, the round of 32, it seemed like voting for people's particular favorites got a little tougher from what I could tell. Some of my channel's highest viewed videos, that being Jump Scares, Merry Birthmas, and The Climax, they were getting eliminated, so that seemed a little surprising, but I guess there are other videos that my audience seem to prefer, and that's just really interesting. In terms of the videos that will later be remade in some form or fashion, it didn't bother me that the original versions of, say, The Climax and even The Great Pie Circus, they were getting eliminated by this time, as the remakes, I'm pretty sure people prefer those, but in my opinion, they're far superior. That's what remakes are supposed to do, right? Take the original context and make them better, and I feel like I did that. And while I do appreciate folks voting and all, it just seems to me that more people voted for their favorites as the tournament went on. Like, people were voting left and right by the time that the quarterfinals came around. That's really more evident. Like, a little more, my personal favorite videos just seem to get eliminated, especially by the end of the round of 16 came along. Speaking of that, getting to the round of 16, with those matches getting to a close, just a thought occurred to me, like, whether people were genuinely voting for their favorites or just, unfortunately to say, just trolling their fake opinions on the matter. Like, for example, like, if people really enjoyed the 10-hour Power Minute video, great, that's what it's meant to be there for. Even I can admit, like, in terms of my subscribers, over 4,000 people, thanks guys, I know that a chunk of them are just Game Grumps fans. Like, they only subscribed just because I was putting best of videos, whether it be for the animations or any other topics that are going on. The only reason I feel like my channel has gotten as much subscribers as they have is because of Game Grumps, and I'm still a fan. I still check out their videos, and now I definitely watch a lot of best of videos myself from other people if I ever get the chance to. And this is kind of unfortunately where the YouTube poops would come to play in this circumstance. Like, if people were voting for certain videos without even watching the video itself, to me, it would feel a little disingenuous, and it would be self-defeating to the whole point of this project. The videos that my audience genuinely care for and would love to rewatch in the future deserve to go forward, and not just spam votes like bots or just real people in general. I would believe in this case. Just, I'm not bothered like what the people vote for. Like I've been saying, these are their opinions, and if that's their truest opinions, they deserve to go forward. And like I said before, it's interesting for me what they prefer, and it's kind of like a little bit of understanding on my part, like what people would genuinely like. It is interesting. As long as it's genuine, like the voting wise, and it's represented by the said viewers, and it's not the people just giving out false information just for laughs. That part just, like I've been saying, just doesn't feel right to me. So at this point, it doesn't go without saying that I do want to sincerely thank all the people that have voted in this tournament, whether they've just voted for one poll or been staying consistent throughout. It's these votes that have been managed to carry on this tournament as it is. Like, people have seemed to have been honest with their opinions, and that's the whole point of these polls anyway. So again, just thank you to all that voted. It really means a lot to me that people would go out of their way just to vote for these silly little videos. Videos I've put a lot of effort in over the years, and I feel like seeing people vote in general just shows that they have done their job. So no other words can just say thank you. I do appreciate that. So definitely by the time that the semi-finals were ready to be posted and folks could vote on those, I think that I got a good idea, at least in my opinions, in terms of the final 4 videos, why people would really like them, that they hold a special place in the heart, as corny as it sounds. I feel like I've got a few good theories on that. The remastered version of Bodum, definitely on my part, I can admit, it seems more like a love letter to one of my favorite anime movies of all time. Just making humor on my own, just mixing into the content that was already there, and just complimenting it, obviously. Like, I feel like people just, they know the movie in and out too, and when they see my humor just trying to co-op with it, they get a laugh out of it too. It does come from a place that, from a person, so to speak, that really enjoyed the original content, and it just seems like other people seem to feel the same way too. The fact that in this video in particular managed to get into the top 4. The Mr. Man Rabbit YouTube Tubes video seemed to have a little bit of everything in there for people to enjoy. Like, definitely the daydream sequence is my personal favorite out of that whole video, and the ending is genuinely nice as well. There's a nice balance in there as well. The Willie Goes Off to Be Discovered video basically delivers what it promises from the title. It would seem people really get a kick out of it too. Like, it doesn't seem to be like a traditional YouTube poop. If anything, it seems more like a short that you expect from YouTube nowadays. But regardless, I still consider it an official roster, just because, I mean, look at it. Like, I feel like I'm not the only one that just kind of feels a way about the way it does. Just, every time I watch it, I certainly get a laugh out of it. And clearly, the fact that it managed to get as far as it did, I'm not the only one that thinks that. As for Hail Rotten Robbie, part of me believes the only reason this video made it so far, in terms of the tournament alone at least, is because of the character's status online, that being Robbie Rotten. Whether you genuinely love the character, or you respect the actor that portrayed him, God rest his soul, or just like, you're just along for the meme ride, like, oh look, it's this character, we will make him funny for internet lols, ha 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 ha. That attention, I believe, is still relevant. It's not, the video is just not my personal favorite, just looking back. I can watch it fine, but I certainly wouldn't put it in my top 10 for sure. If I could go back and change the ending for sure, because I did another video after the actor's passing. I did a separate video where I changed the ending, made it a little more heartfelt, kind of like a tribute to him. Just, if I remade this video at all, I would take that ending from that additional video, replace the ending that I did for the original video, and maybe that would have worked better for me. Maybe for that reason alone, it could have made in a top 10. I would remake that video in a heartbeat if I would, but still, both endings exist online, so that's a worth taking for, in my opinion. And speaking of that, guys, I just gotta ask, because the finals aren't over. They don't have a deadline, but I haven't made the final count yet. So, editor, who got third place in the tournament? Interesting. And who was runner-up? Oh yeah, that's pretty good. And what about first place? All right, that's pretty good. All right. Generally, I guess that's the audience favorites. I do not regret going with this decision. It's been a heck of a ride, and it's certainly inspired me in terms of the future, whether I continue to make YouTube poops or just doing this kind of format for my channel in general. It's certainly given me a lot of ideas, and I have only got you guys to thank for that. But now that I've gone on and on and on about what my videos like about my YouTube poops, maybe I should split the difference on that and go over my personal opinions on the videos that I've made, because it's certainly been a while since I've voiced my public opinions on those particular videos. Well, I think it's been like 5-6 years, so how to go over it exactly? Yeah, that's the most dated way I can think of, yes. This is how I've done other ways to rank my videos, these YouTube poops, either way, but in terms of this video, I thought I'd make it a little interesting, even if it's a little dated, but I think people still do this format anyway. You got your 5 categories here, and obviously I'm going to go from worst to best in this category. When looking at the absolute cringe pile, it's evident that, like, for me at least, either because these videos would later get remakes and I prefer those in my opinion, that's why they're down there. There's just no point for me to rewatch them. And a couple of these other videos, like, they have main gags or punchlines I just feel like do not work from the beginning, or I feel like they don't represent me anymore. For example, I would never do a video like the controversial Thomas YouTube poop ever again. I like the concept that it was mostly live action, it was a little experimental, but I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of being a YouTube poop, and it just led to a really bad tasting joke. And the other thing too, it was just advertising a future episode of the preschool guy, and ugh, definitely not doing that again. Definitely another video that I would not look fondly back on again is the rabbit poops of death. Making this video, it just came at a bad time in my life. Somebody close to me just passed away, and I felt like this was the only way to, like, get that sadness out of me, to, like, in terms of creativeness. And by the time it was released, and even though I felt like it was well-intentioned, people, but mostly close to me, have called me out on it. Like, why would you release a video like this? Just seems like really bad taste. And just years later, looking back on it, yeah, they're right. They're warranted on their opinions, because just I'm at least glad that in terms of the editing style has gotten better. I think, like, in terms of video effects and just a little bit of gags in there, I feel like those still work. But in terms of just the intentions of the video in general, it's definitely not one I look back on fondly. And raising on higher up onto the list here, all these other videos, just there are certain bits in there that I don't think make the video, like, good, but there are jokes in there that I still look fondly back on. Oh, and an interesting story about the Pat's Blank Day video, if any of you remember that, in terms of when the original was posted, like, 7 years ago or whatever. There was going to be a plan going forward for the Poop Wars, like, any YouTube poops that I would do after that, for at least a year or so, I would combine 2 properties and combine them to make a video for any coherent story that I would make up or the shows would make up for me. But then YouTube got a hold of the video, the copyright infringement went way up. For that video alone, I got strikes twice. So it clearly wasn't going to happen, and looking back on it, I'm glad it didn't. I don't think I would have been able to make the videos that would have been real entertaining for viewers at least. And just, I don't think I would have looked finally back on that either. So, I've made a version, like, recently, that just condenses that so that way, hopefully no copyright strikes happen. But it's just going to be its own self-contained video now, so at least you have that. Getting a chance to do anything by the great Rick Mail, I'm always going to take advantage of. I'm just surprised I haven't done more YouTube poops that have material containing the guy, but then again, I feel like there's YouTubers that already do an amazing job on that, and I just feel like I can't top that. So at least I made the one video, for as little cringy as it is. It's there, and there's a few jokes in there that I still look fondly back on. Yeah, the videos like more Mr. Men Rabbit poops and Thomas Poops Like a Fool. Yeah, I'm glad people get those, but in terms of the Mr. Men one, that was more of an advertisement for my audiobook channel that you can go watch in the description. But I consider it more of a joke, but I guess more people like really took it more seriously and they enjoyed the the content that was in there as well. And the same thing for the Thomas Poops Like a Fool one. That was more like an April Fool's thing. Like, at this point, I don't think I'm ever gonna cover content from Thomas the Tank Engine, because Hit Entertainment, from what I understand, still is just so strict about their content going online without their authorization and what have you. But at least I managed to kind of do it in an April Fool's joke, and people still seem to like it, but for me it's just right in the middle. Even though there are videos from the first series of YouTube poops I'd done that, yes, the editing is not good and probably some of the jokes are not well represented, I feel like they still rank up high just a little bit, because the main core of it is harmless, I should say. It gets its point across, not absolutely funny, but I still think it's cute enough for reviewing. And man, I feel like I must have gotten way better with my editing, because when it gets to the pretty darn good category, that's more of my recent videos. For the majority of them, at least. In terms of the pretty darn good category, from then on there, I know I can watch those videos without really cringing, so to speak. I'm sorry to keep overusing that word, but I still get laughs on these videos no matter what. No matter what you see on there. And then you get to the personal favorites tier. This is basically my top 10 if I'm seeing correctly here, and yeah, got no complaints really about them. If I have, they're just gonna be little nitpicks here and there, like, oh, if only I didn't do this joke or changed it, or if only I did this editing. But I feel like the pros from these 10 videos greatly outweigh the cons. I can go back to these videos anytime and just have a good time. You got the recent videos here, which I feel like they're the best that I've done with my editing skills in terms of, at this time, at the end of 2022, and I feel like more people need to see these videos just for whatever jokes that come up on my part, and you even get a few cameos in there as well. I am grateful that the people that managed to get into these videos as guest stars or cameos, whatever, they help identify the video as well. That, like, they help make what the video is great. Them alone shouldn't be recognized as the main reason as why these videos are so great, in my opinion. There's more elements to that as well, but that definitely helps. I think I did the What a Goof video as just kind of a joke to compliment the Willie Goes Off to Be Discovered. Like, I feel like I made the Goof video first, and then I wanted an April Fool's joke, so I made Willie, which paid off, obviously. But I look back on What a Goof 2 and just maybe it could have been a little longer, but for the content that is in there, a majority of it is just perfect from what you can adapt or just try to make fun of with the content available there. What happened to your remastered trunk? Definitely the jokes that were in the original video are better, and the stuff that's added in is just as good. I feel like I should give like a shout out to the great Pied Circus show Redux as well. I feel like I should have put that in my personal favorites list, because one thing I can definitely compliment on that video is the lip sync. When you go back to that video and see like the characters talking, like that was all me. Like it would, if you watch the original video, then the lip flaps didn't really match. If anything, it was just how it was in the show when it was dubbed. But the ad-libs and the lip syncs, what am I saying? The lip syncs from the remade version, they were all me, just based on what I've learned from other YouTubers and tried to adapt it to how I do it myself. And I feel like for that reason alone, when you take aside the jokes and anything that was made a little better compared to the original, that helps identify the video more. I'm glad I was able to make that work. And yeah, I do have a soft spot for the Teletubbies one. I honestly did not want to do that video. I knew it was going to get the highest views when I did the poll. And it's like, well, I got it on it now. And like the title of the video says, let's just get this over with. But I didn't want to just half-ass it, so to speak. I did want to put effort into it. And I believe it does work. Really, like, I could just watch this as like a mini cynical version of the original, so in terms of me, and I believe a lot of people get into that too, because every other time my phone will notify me or YouTube will notify me, hey, you got a comment from this video, and for the most part it's people are enjoying the jokes. They're really getting into what I'm satirizing, and for all different reasons. So that video's gotta be in my personal favorites just for that reason alone, because so many people are enjoying it. If I can make one concrete proof that people are really enjoying these videos and just basically making them for nothing, basically, that one video is proof alone that there are people out there that are really enjoying the content, even though it's not original. I'm making it out of my own time, and people are enjoying what I'm making out of my deranged mind. So really, that's all worth it, just based on that one video alone, even though there are other videos on my channel that I would recommend more in a heartbeat. And then you have the other two videos that make up what I consider the first ever trilogy. And what I mean by that is it's in reference to the first 3 Disney animated films that I've ever seen in my life, and they were all recorded from TV on a videotape. The other one being Alice in Wonderland or Going Wacky Land. But these two in particular, Scrooge's Holiday Capers and Bodum, I'm just ignore what you see in the picture there. I count the remade version for that. The original video works fine, and that was my favorite for a while too, but looking at the complete, like the remade version, that is infinitely better. Like, it really is more of a love letter to the original cartoon, because that's one of my favorite animated Disney films of all time, and just getting a chance to use every single scene, no matter how major or how small. I've seen that movie a bajillion times. I know the dialogue in and out, and I know how scenes play out, so I feel like when it came to noting down, oh, what kind of jokes can I do for this video, a chunk of them I already knew what I was going to do before making notes for the video and before going into the editing booth to put it all together. Just looking back on that video alone is just, I feel like it truly represents, in terms from a comedic standpoint, what I love about Dumbo as a whole. Yes, you can make fun of the stereotypes all you want. You can make fun of the fact that an elephant gets drunk and all this other stuff that would have people normally criticize, and I totally get that, especially for the racism part. Not cool. Didn't fly then, didn't fly now. But in terms of what else the film represented alongside all that, I feel like the video as a whole just represents like my humor, I don't want to say my best capabilities, because that just emphasizes, oh, that's the best you can do. But at least, like, what I feel would absolutely fit with the video as a whole, whether it be just singular musical segments or just little jokes one by one, and what it represents as a whole, I can't help but loved. Definitely Bodum is a video that if I ever go back in the future, I'm just gonna love it as more as I did when I first made it. And I love Scrooge's Holiday Capers as well. Like, a good chunk of the jokes work there too. But if I remade it, I would definitely include the ending that isn't sad. Like, I would give it the Bodum treatment as well. And I'd be open to do that in the future, just as a little side thing, just to say like, hey, I did this. You guys can enjoy like 2 videos in one. But as is, that video ranks up high too. I love that short as well. It's one of the best. Definitely one of my personal favorite adaptations of the original Christmas Carol story anyway, and just having a chance to add my own stupid humor to an already beloved short. 40 years old next year, oh my god. Just being able to do that at all, it meant a lot to me. Just, it was a part of my childhood, and I know a lot of people get into it too. And the fact that the final product is just... you could have a laugh with it, and people can just feel real good about it, or feel a little sad near the ending, but it's all good in my books. God, no real complaints with those videos whatsoever. And I feel like that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me, for rambling for this long. It's been a real trip these 10 years, like I said, but just being able to work on these videos, I definitely get a kick out of anyway. But I feel like it's the viewers that really what makes these projects worthwhile, whether it be the YouTube groups or anything else that I go on YouTube in general. So once again, but I know I keep saying thank you guys, but it's true. You guys really, you're worth it to make these videos on, just to hear your reactions, see your comments, whether for the most part they be generous. Sometimes they have criticisms, but like I've said before, they warranted. So thank you guys so much. I'm gonna stop rambling now because there's nothing else more I can add. So I don't know what 2023 and beyond is gonna hold for me, but at least we'll have these videos to go back on if we ever need a good old laugh. So thank you guys for watching. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year too, and we'll see you guys for the next one. Take care.